Regulate your nervous system. Have you ever heard this? It's become apparently one of the biggest wellness catchphrases on social media right now. The phrase racks up millions of views, but what does it actually mean and how can it help you? Dr. Japji Anna Bas is a well-being expert and a nervous system strategist and is on the line. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, I think. But I've never thought about regulating my nervous system. What does this mean?
Well, the nervous system is essentially your body's internal communication network. So it's what helps you think fast in moments of urgency or slow down when it's time to sleep. But it also regulates all of your internal organs. This is like your digestion, your heart, your lungs, your brain. It's a remarkable precision instrument. But of course, it evolved before modern times, right? So it's attuned maybe to something that's a little bit different. Our evolution takes longer than the advances of technology. So we're lucky that there's tools that help us regulate it so that we can kind of take the reins back.
Okay, now you're talking about this is basically we're not conscious about what's going on, are we? With our
That's right.
Okay.
It's a subconscious activity, right? But we can actually attune to it. The thing is, we might find ourselves in situations of urgency, right? So we've heard of fight or flight is what's really commonly talked about. Mm-hmm. But in recent years, we've come to understand that there's a few more ways to look at this. The original research was actually done almost 100 years ago. They came up with these two systems, fight or flight, and it was done exclusively with men. Since the 90s, we've recognized that there's actually other systems. So we understand, the freeze. We see this in humans. We've also, see this in animals who sometimes might even play dead to such an extent where their heart rate slows down in an urgent situation. And more recently, there's been the addition of another thing that we've understood, which is a fawn response. Some people call it tend and befriend, but a response to urgency that is a fourth system that hasn't been talked about for as long.
Okay, so all of this sounds a little vague to me. So how would you operate in your everyday life regulating your nervous system? What would you do?
Well, there's all kinds of things, and there's a lot of things that have been popularized that seem a little bit more extreme. People are talking about cold plunges, et cetera. But the simplest tools really are things that we can do without any tools. Literally learning to navigate our breath work is one way that we can actually take the reins of our nervous system. So an in-breath, for example, actually brings up the nervous system, and an out-breath will slow it down. So, for example, when you're sleeping, your exhalations are about double the length of your inhalations.
Okay, and? What does that mean?
What does that mean? Well, what that means is, let's say you're finding yourself in a stressful situation and your thoughts are racing. You can take a moment and just notice your breath. First, notice how you're breathing, and then begin to try to slowly increase the length of your exhalations. As you increase the length of your exhalations, this sends a signal through your nervous system and will actually start to slow down your heart rate, which will in turn help to influence slowing down your thoughts so that you can bring yourself into a calmer state, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and this actually works.
It works remarkably well. I am not one of the, yogi on the mountain types, but there's research that shows that those people can actually increase and decrease their body temperature. They can change their heart rate at will because they're actually using physical, concrete practices to get there. And in our day-to-day lives, we don't need to go be a yogi on the mountain to do this, but we can really easily do a little bit of practice at home so that, when we're in a meeting with the scary boss, we're able to make sure that our nervous system doesn't run away. Heart starts racing, can't think straight anymore. We can actually teach ourselves to use a tool that we can use invisibly in context. And it's really quite liberating.
Oh, fascinating. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on.